What's up, brothers and sisters? It's your brother G World 7_D. Here's the book right here, The History of Florida, edited by Michael Gannon. Now, on this cover, you see mostly Negroes on this cover, man. But I'm going to start off with showing you this. I'm going to turn to page 27. All right. Here's one of the earliest images of Hernando de Soto. All right. As you see that's a Negro, man. That's a Negro. It's just a straight up light skinned black man or a mulatto black man. That's Hernando de Soto. That's one of the earliest images of him. All right. Now I'm going to turn to page 97. I'm going to read a little bit, but I want you to pick up on some things I'm going to say. All right. No, I don't get 97. It's 91. Here it is, chapter 6. The missions of Spanish Florida. All right. Missions in Florida, as in other parts of the Spanish New World, sought to spread the knowledge and message of Christ to native peoples. Their goal was to persuade the natives to accept Catholicism and allegiance to the King of Spain. Establishment of missions assumed special importance in the Spanish New World under Pope Alexander VI. Grants of exclusive dominion in the New World to Spain's monarchs because the grant was justified by the Crown's assumption of the obligation of preaching Christ's teachings to the natives. The royal contract given to Florida's founder, Menendez de Alvarez, clearly included the obligation to bring clergymen to instruct the natives in the Christian faith. People may not associate missions with Spanish Florida as readily as they link them with the early Spanish experience from Texas to California, but missions played no less a role in Florida than they did elsewhere in the establishment of the Spanish control. During the 138 years of Florida's mission era, 1567 to 1705, missions were attempted or established among at least 11 distinct Indian peoples at about 80 mission centers that serve a far greater number of individual villages and hamlets. Almost all of this was the work of Spanish Franciscans. The missions existed simultaneously, numbered 44 by the mid-1630s and probably increased by a few more over the next 10 years as new missions appeared among the Appalachee of the Tallahassee region. The number may have begun to contract by 1650, if not before. 20,000 Indians had been baptized by 1630, and more than 50,000 other catechized. Only 27 Franciscans were then available to staff the 32 missions, which served more than 200 settlements, 60 of which had churches. 35 Franciscans served 30,000 Christian Indians by 1635. Contradiction had definitely set in by 1655, when there were about 40 missions. The 36 that had friars held only 26,000 Christian Indians by then. A 1656 revolt, the turmoil that followed, and the spread of diseases further hastened the decline. The relatively successful mission stretched from just south of St. Augustine northward along the coast of Georgia almost to the Savannah River. They reached westward across North Florida to the Apalachicola and extended into parts of South Georgia west of the Okefenokee Swamp. Okefenokee Swamp. Okefenokee Swamp. Notice what I'm saying. They penetrated Central Florida along the St. Johns River for an undefined distance south of Lake George, possibly reached further south along the Ocklawaha, and probably went further south in Marion County to the vicinity of the cove of the Withlacoochee, and then Appalachie, Goulet of the North Georgia coast, and the various Timucua, speaking groups constituted the majority of the missionized natives. The Appalachi lived between the Osceola and the Ohlaconi, 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 Ni, Geechee, Ni rivers. Timucua speakers occupy all of North Florida, east of Jefferson County. Much of the eastern half of Georgia below the Altamaha River, coastal Florida southward to the vicinity of Daytona Beach, and central Florida southward along the rivers for an undefined distance. The Tama Yamasi, the Chain, the Emakeno, the Pakara, and the Chakatu, the Mayaka speakers, and a few Sabacola comprise the remainder. The Tama from north central Georgia migrated to the Appalachia to be missionized. The Yamasi, also from north central Georgia, migrated to Appalachia, to coastal Georgia, and to the Mayaka speaking territory along the upper St. Johns River. The Sabacola live along the Chattahoochee River. The Chine and the Chakatu migrated to Appalachia from the Florida Panhandle. The Amakano and the Pakara, linguistic brothers of the Chine, were living with the Chine on the Appalachia Bay Spring Creek when the Chine missions were established in 1674. In general, Florida missions experienced parallel that of other frontier territories of the Iberian New World, but the experience was unique in a number of ways because of various interrelated factors. First and foremost, soldiers rather than settlers remained the core most of Florida's Spanish families, even though historian Eugene Lyons has recently revisited our image of early Spanish Florida as little more than a bleak and often starving garrison town. The relative lack of settlers and the Crown's close supervision of developments in Florida sparred its natives from some of Spain's most exploitative economic institutions. The Crown checked the several attempts to introduce enslavement of the natives. Tribute was not a regular part of the former Spanish regime in Florida. Spaniards introduced tribute to a degree in an informal sense. In areas where soldiers were introduced some time after the establishment of missions, natives were expected to contribute some of the food those soldiers consumed. Although there was no uniform policy in the matter, similarly, natives carried soldiers' bedding from post to post without pay as a service to the king. The paid labor draft known as the repartimiento was the sole formalized, economically exploitative institution imposed on Florida's natives in general. Although economic considerations were a factor motivating establishment of missions in Florida, none is known to have become an economic enterprise dominated by friars in the way of the typical California mission. Excerpts for the earliest approaches to coastal natives in the 1560s, missionaries began their work unaccompanied by soldiers and, with few exceptions, at the invitation of elements among the native leaders rather than by trusting themselves uninvited upon the indigenous societies. By the last years of the 16th century, leaders from interior provinces where no Spanish conquest of the Indians preceded establishment of the mission began to render obedience to Spain's king and to ask for missionaries. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit further. On the other hand, missions were not the major feature in Spain's initial approaches to Florida's natives that they were in the Spanish dominion of Texas and California. The first missionaries were overshadowed by the Adelantado, all right, Menendez de Aviles and his soldiers, or by his governor's successor and their soldiers, with the possible exception of some coastal missions and a few tribes from distant hinterland frontiers. The practice of being native to mission centers at places chosen by the missionaries was not employed in Florida as it was in California. Florida Franciscans established their missions in pre-existing villages. In contrast to the Franciscans who established the first missions in New Mexico and Alta or Upper California, Florida's Franciscans did not bring large herds of cattle, horses, or sheep to strengthen their hand and convince the natives to accept their tutelage. There is no evidence that the Spanish authorities induced Florida's Indians to adopt the Spanish-type roster of governor, lieutenant governor, alcalde, or mayor. All right, and I'm gonna stop right there. I want to show you when I was reading that off. You can listen to the similarities of those names, man. All right, those names sound very similar, and I already showed you images of the real Timucua people. All right, those are straight up Negroes, man. All this is talking about Negroes. All this is talking about Negroes, and I'm gonna go, and this is in this book, The History of Florida. All right, The History of Florida. But I'm gonna go, and here's a Timucua Indian of Florida. All right, that's what it is. And there's images with it. Some of them they're showing them standing on crocodiles, or alligators, standing on top of alligators, and they had a crown on their head. All right, this is a Florida Indian. This is not an African slave. This is a Florida Indian. This is a black man here in America. This is an ancient indigenous black man here in America. All right, I've shown this picture before, but I'm showing this again because I want to hammer inside that you had massive black empires here in America, man. You had great empires in America, paved streets in America. I said this over and over in my damn books, man. This information right in front of your face. You know, I'm showing you different books. I'm getting different books and digging the information. But it's there. You're going to have to dig for it, but it's there. And the stuff, when you see it, it's all in front of your face. And it pisses you off because these bastards have really buried our history in books and it destroyed our history. And they told us that we came from West African slaves, and most of us are not even from there. All right, here's Virginia. Negro out of Virginia. If I can get a better, clearer picture of it right here. Hope my thing is clear. There you go. This is Virginia. Here's America's. Get a clear picture of that. Focus. All right. I constantly emphasize that we were already here. I just read you about various different black tribes here in America, man. Very different black tribes in America. And yet, you still have Negroes who want to continue to push that mess that we dropped off on slave ships at different points. On the other video I did the other day, I talked about so many black Irish, Scots, Wales, and Britons were shipped here to the Americas. And then you had the black people here. And when I was reading that, I talked about the war that was happening between the black people here. As well, you had Oliver Cromwell sell out black ass, killing many black people over in Europe and having many of them shipped over here as freaking slaves. All right? I don't know. I don't understand how you continue to have Umar Johnson and Sarah Sudan City keep telling you that you're descendant of slaves from Africa, or that idiot Angel Ramirez Jordan. There's so much documentation, and I just showed you even more about the history of Negroes here in America. And I have more information. I have tons of information on this stuff. And it really angers me. The ignorance I hear from some of our people who still want to push this mess that we just came over here by someone bringing us on a bottom of a cargo ship. That we did not have the intellectual fortitude to sail around the damn planet. We did. We were already here. I showed you a picture of Hernando de Soto. That was a black man or a mulatto. Like I said, we warred amongst each other, and that was our downfall. So I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, when you read these books, a lot of them kick a lot of lies, but then you can get some truth out of these books. And You want to kick so many lies about Florida, because Florida was so many Negroes in Florida, man, make your head spin. The original people of all the so-called United States and of South America and into Canada were so-called Negro people. They're monuments of not only so-called Olmecan figures in Canada, but you have black Buddhist statues in damn Canada, man. Stop relegating your history as being some African slave from West Africa. That is a damn lie, man. Majority of slaves were blacks who were here, and blacks who were shipped from Europe in large numbers. What do you hell you think would happen to them damn blacks who ruled Europe? I showed you pictures of all them damn black people in castles with shields with their faces on there. I showed you all those pictures. What do you think happened to them Negroes? They were expelled out of there. When are we going to learn to use common sense? Some of us don't. Some of us just won't believe anything unless some white man tells them, or some Negro scholar, like I always said, who's been educated by some white man. Do not listen to them. Do your damn research. The information is there. You have to do your research. You got to wake up, brothers and sisters. Do your damn homework. The information is there. It's going to take some effort, but the information is there. Peace, brothers and sisters.